Today's video is all about my 2021 Jeep Trackhawk, and I'm going to be discussing the pros and cons of owning a Trackhawk. I've owned this thing for 5 months, so I had a little bit of time to think about all these things, and I think I have the credibility to talk about these things. A lot of people mention the pros and cons about certain cars without really owning them, so you're getting this information from someone that actually owns it, which is me. Let's start out with the pros. Coming in at number 1, it's the performance. This thing has 707 horsepower, which is a lot of power for an SUV. This was at some point one of the fastest SUVs in the world, and still to this day one of the fastest SUVs in the world. And this thing came out in 2018. This is a 21, and that's when they ended production. It was, I believe, like a 4-year run, so they did 2018, 2019, 2020, and 2021, and this is the last year they made them. And we're also talking about a vehicle that you could get for about $100,000 or less, depending on specs, mileage, what year you're getting, because if you want to get a 2018, it's going to be a lot cheaper than getting a 2021. So you're getting it for about $100,000, let's say, with a low mileage 2021, and it is way faster. Well, I don't want to say way, it is faster than a Lamborghini Urus, which is triple the price of a Trackhawk. Coming in at number 2 is the maintenance cost, and those are pretty low when it comes to the Trackhawk. You're really not going to pay for anything besides oil change, maybe tires, and that's pretty much it. I've owned it for about 5 months. I've only paid for oil changes. I haven't changed the tires just yet, but I also haven't put that many miles on this thing. The Hellcat motor under the hood is a pretty reliable, bulletproof, pretty close to bulletproof. I don't want to say bulletproof, but it's a pretty strong supercharger and engine, so really you're not gonna run into any issues, especially if you keep this thing stock. This next one also goes hand in hand with low maintenance, and that is reliability. This thing is pretty reliable. If you don't have a reliable car, then that means the maintenance costs are gonna go up. So with this thing being so reliable, the maintenance cost goes down. For example, a Tesla, if you go to get the Plaid or just any of the Teslas, the batteries always seem to fail, and then that's something you gotta go pay for, and you don't really have those issues with this. I've owned 9 Hellcats, and they've been pretty reliable, and I've modified all of them. The ones I've kept stock, which were 2 of them, never had an issue. They worked fine, and everybody that's owned a Hellcat knows how reliable they are, and they can take a beating. Most cars can't take a beating like the Hellcats can. Next thing on the list is how modification friendly the Trackhawk is. So it comes with 707 horsepower, but if that is not enough for you, then you could make this thing make 1,000 horsepower really easy. All you have to do is do an upper pulley, lower pulley, a tune, put it on 85 injectors, and a booster pump, and these parts are all for under $5,000, and you will get 1,000 horsepower Trackhawk, and it's just that easy, and it's super easy to install. You could have a shop do it, or you could do it yourself. It's not hard like most cars, like if we're talking about a Corvette, that's almost impossible to try to work on, but these cars are super easy to work on, and literally for under $5,000 you can make it make 1,000 horsepower, and that's amazing. To be able to do that without it costing you an arm and a leg is definitely a pro. Next thing on the list is not something you would even think about when going to buy a Trackhawk, but I was like, why not mention it? And it's girls love Trackhawks. Girls love Hellcats in general, just because every rapper raps about it. Lil Baby raps about it, 21 Savage raps about it, Drake. I mean, every rapper raps about Hellcats. They're the coolest thing since they came out. The hip-hop rap culture loves Trackhawks and Hellcats, and that is cool to be able to say you have something that rappers rap about a lot without it costing $300,000-$400,000. Most rappers used to always rap about Lamborghinis and Rolls Royces, and they still do, but they also rap about a car that you could get for about $100,000 or less, and that is very cool. It makes the car very cool. It gets a lot of people to look at it, and everybody knows what it is. It gets a lot of attention, and that is a cool thing when owning a car like this. The final pro I'm gonna mention about this thing, and there was just so many that I had to narrow down the list, and that is that this is such a comfortable car to drive. It is the best daily you can get, in my opinion, because you're getting fast, reliable, and you could drive it every single day. You could take it wherever, and it's just a fun daily that has 707 horsepower, and that that doesn't sound practical, but it is practical when it's a Trackhawk. You know, it could do a lot of things great. You could also tow with it. It does so many things great that you can't find a better option for the price of the Trackhawk. So those were all the pros. And again, like I said, there was a lot of pros to mention, but I narrowed it down. Maybe I'm biased, but that's just my experience with this car. And you guys know I'm a very honest person. Every car I've owned, I pretty much had something bad to say about it, and I'm not afraid to, you know, speak on my opinions and my experiences with these cars. So next, let's talk about the cons of the Trackhawk. Coming in at number one con about the Trackhawk, and this is the most important con of this whole car. Like, this is something that's super serious, and that is how easy these get stolen. I mean, it is pretty fucking hilarious that just about any 18-year-old kid with a laptop can steal the Trackhawk. That is absolutely horrible. That is just the dumbest thing I've ever seen. I have never seen a car brand make it easy for people to steal these cars. I don't know what they were thinking when they made, you know, the alarm and security system for this car. It's pretty embarrassing that Mopar thought it was okay to have a security system that a 12-year-old can break into. You know, like, there was just no thought behind that, and they never fixed it. This was a problem from 2015 when Hellcats came out. We are in 2023, and literally the jailbreaks, every Hellcat that's been out is still getting stolen. Dodge has done absolutely nothing about it to this day. They came out with some stupid update that you can't like reprogram the key or this and that, and you know, these thieves are smarter than these billion-dollar companies, and they were still able to adapt and steal them. So you can't really take the Trackhawk anywhere, and I'm super passionate about this because I've had a Hellcat stolen before. You know, one of my first my first Hellcat, not one of my first Hellcat was stolen, and you know, to this day I have this fear that I can't just leave this thing anywhere. I literally do not leave this thing unattended anywhere. Like, I either have to see it, I have to valet it, or like, I don't know, I just don't take it out. I leave it at home and take a different car. It's so stupid that I have to deal with this when I paid $100,000 for a vehicle like this, and that's kind of what it comes with owning this car. And all the pros I mentioned, some people don't care about them because this con is just so big for them that they don't want to have a vehicle that they constantly watch for, constantly worry about. Also, it puts your life in danger. You know, I carry a weapon on me all the times, obviously because I want to protect myself, but also because I'm in this car. You know, there's so many carjacking when people have owned this car. Somebody will bump into you, you know, you will get out, look at the damages, and they literally will rob you at gunpoint. Or you could just be at a light and they'll just come and try to carjack you. So it is very, you know, scary and very dangerous owning a Trackhawk. Moving on to number two on the cons list, and that is this looks too similar to the lower model Jeeps. I obviously, as you can see, changed the hood, so I have a Demon hood, but if you were just to buy the Trackhawk and not change this, you will get a hood from the Summit Jeep, which is a V6 Jeep, a lower model Jeep, a way cheaper Jeep than this, and you will pretty much look exactly like that Jeep. Besides the bumpers, they've changed nothing about the looks from this Jeep to the lower model Jeeps. Obviously, you get the yellow Brembo brakes, but that's about it. So you could easily look like a lower model Jeep if you don't do a few of the modifications I did, like the hood. You know, the Demon hood definitely changes the look on this car. I got one more on the list of the cons. I know there wasn't that many cons, but this car, you know, being a dangerous car to own, I felt like that is the biggest con anyone can, you know, not want in a car. So let's move on to the last con, and that is the interior. So it's a pretty cool interior. You got the red seat belts. You could also get the interior in tan or red. Well, red they actually discontinued. The red was only on, I believe, the 18s and 19s. The 20s and 21s, they didn't do red interior, which I still don't know to this day why. The red was super cool. So here's what I don't like. It's just too basic, you know. I feel like they could have done a lot more. You know, it looks like a normal Jeep interior. You have a little bit of carbon fiber right here, just a little bit. But besides that, you really don't have much to it. This one is actually a pretty decent spec. So you got the TVs right here. So that's pretty cool. You can play Xbox or watch movies. Got the HDMI right there. You also got the plug. I've actually played Xbox back here, but it's a pretty, you know, cheap interior. They really didn't change much. You know, the steering wheel is cool, I guess, but I felt like, you know, when you spend $100,000, they could definitely make it a little more special. But that's not something you should expect out of Mopar or FCA. They kind of make all their cars look the same. The only thing they change is the motor. So you're really just paying for the motor at the end of the day, and as long as you're okay with that, then you know, go buy it and don't complain. I'm not complaining about these things. I kind of just want to mention all the pros and cons of owning a Trackhawk. You know, if any of you guys are out there in the market to get a Trackhawk, it's the best time to get them right now, and here's why. These are dailies. Everybody's constantly drive them, and well, they don't make them no more, so the cars that are already out there are being driven. The miles are going up, and it's going to be harder and harder to find a low mileage Trackhawk. I was lucky to find a low mileage Trackhawk, but most of the Trackhawks out there have 50, 60, 70,000 miles. So if you keep waiting to get a Trackhawk, you're gonna probably pick up a 50, 60,000 mile Trackhawk with somebody who's beat the absolute out of it, and you know, you don't want that. They can take a great beating, but you know, I don't know if you'd want someone else putting 60,000 miles on a car that you want. So that's pretty much all I got for you guys. I love you guys. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what other videos you guys want me to make. Honestly, lately it's been very hard to come up with ideas. I've made over 950 videos on this channel, so creativity is kind of low right now. So it's, you know, I'm just trying my best to keep coming up with ideas that I haven't made before, and it's very, very hard. Make sure you are also following me on Instagram at It's MotorTube, and also follow me on TikTok at MotorTube. Both of them I'm constantly posting, especially when I'm not posting on YouTube. And I also been going live on Twitch lately, so make sure you go and follow me and subscribe on Twitch. All the links will be in the description. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys on the next one. Peace. Put it, oh, it's already in track mode. Perfect. These downshifts are insane.